Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, I bring you an okay hour of your week. I'm Brent Hazard. This is Richard Schwartz with the Richie and Hazz Show. What's up, Richie?
I'm great. Everything. Got my last shots today.
Your last shots of what?
Well, the COVID shot. Got the second shot.
Well, I mean, with you could never know. I mean, you know.
Maybe my last shot, but it was
could
last
be
COVID
tetanus.
shot for sure. Huh?
You're getting married. It could be some sort of vaccine for.
No effect. No side effect. No side effect.
Anyway, we're joined by our dear friend, guest of the show, Yimmy Kings. How you doing, Mr. Kings?
I'm good. Thanks for having me.
Yes, and we're excited. Got a new studio tonight. We're trying everything out. Looks great. Major improvements. We're trying to improve, work out everything with us.
Let's give a shout out to who did it.
Cedric is our producer. I don't know if I don't think he has a mic, but we'll be, when people want to use some high quality production, we're going to have that contact information coming to you soon, so you can either book the studio, book him for any commercials or advertising you want. Even you, Mr. Schwartz.
Absolutely.
But now, okay, you just got your second COVID vaccine.
I did.
How was it?
I hadn't had a problem so far.
But you had COVID.
Yes.
Okay. Did you have a problem with the first shot?
No.
I got the first shot Wednesday of Pfizer, 2 shots.
Yeah.
Now, we had the huge, okay, we're going to talk about the thunderstorms and the hurricanes or the tornadoes. And for those who are hit by tornadoes, we'll keep them in our prayers and our sympathies. But they acted like Armageddon was coming.
They did.
I told Schwartz I wasn't leaving work, and then I got the shot. And next thing you know, when I got the shot, I was like, oh, hell no, I'm just going home. Because I had body aches. I got tired. Now, Yimmy, you got your one shot.
I got the one shot. I got the Johnson & Johnson on Tuesday.
Okay. Any effects?
I felt good all Tuesday.
Okay.
Tuesday night, man, I've never felt so bad in my life. Look, chills. I was sweating and freezing at the same time. Look,
okay. Today, how do you feel?
I feel good today.
Okay. Would you recommend people getting the Johnson & Johnson shot?
I would. So far, so good.
See, my problem is the first shot, I'd give it like a 7, a 6. But the second shot is supposed to knock you down. So I get my second shot in 3 days. See, I figured out when you was telling me, because I was worried about Schwartz skipping today because you were going to feel ill.
Yeah, I feel fine.
I hear nightmares about the second shot.
Now I may feel differently tonight, but I feel fine.
But you had COVID, and so you had the antibodies already built up.
Had some.
Did you have COVID, Yimmy?
Not that I know of.
See, and that's the way I am. So I'm
Maybe
still
so.
getting the second shot. I'd recommend everybody go get vaccinated. Do y'all know anybody who's not getting vaccinated?
There are a lot of people who are refusing to get shot. I do know people who said they're not going to get the vaccine. I was one of those for a long time until a doctor talked me into it because of the new strand that's coming in. And the new strand could be really dangerous.
Well, Yimmy, why did you get it?
Well, one of my cousins, who's a nurse practitioner, he talked me into it. At first, I was not going to get it, but we talked about it. He brought me around.
Okay, now, yeah, I know people who said they're not going to get it. I talked to a young lady today because she's worried about being fertile, her fertility going forward.
I mean, we don't know what the side effects are. And side effects.
That wasn't funny the first time. You keep on doing a bad joke, doesn't get funnier. Okay, just to let you know. But yes, I mean, it's going to be interesting to see how these hardcore anti-vaccinators with these strains coming in holds on to it. I hope no one dies from anything, but to me, they didn't take a vaccine from nothing. They took it from existing vaccines. They modified it a little bit. So, of course, you do have some people passing away from it statistically. But
and from COVID as well.
Yeah, well, people pass away from peanuts.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that we have to make
I do think there's a therapeutic coming out which will make it, because the virus is not going to go away. It's here forever, like the flu.
Yes.
But there will be a therapeutic like Tamiflu, and I think that's coming out real soon. And that's going to, when you get exposed to someone, you take it, or you have it early stages, you take it and diminish it. I think that is going to make a huge difference in COVID. I think the vaccines you got to take every year.
When do we get back to normal? Yimmy, when do you get back to normal?
Now, I'm just hearing that we got to take the vaccine every year.
I think it's going to be like the flu shot, pneumonia vaccine.
Now, do I take it every year? I don't know. I don't think so.
Do you take the flu shot?
No, I've never had the flu shot.
Really?
Never. Never had the flu.
Never.
Mm-mm.
Oh, I had a stomach flu one year, and I ran my butt to get the When you don't know whether it's coming out the front end or back end, you go get that vaccine, and I go get.
Too much information. We don't want to hear that.
Nothing about the back end.
Yeah, we don't want anything in the back end or the front end.
I'm not comfortable.
The attic or the basement.
I'm not comfortable with y'all talking about my back end. Period.
We don't want the attic or the basement.
Okay, but I mean, it was your bed I got sick in, so I don't know.
Oh, well, that's special.
I don't know if I need to tell you that. You were gone. I was over there, and I said, "Hey, if I'm gonna vomit somewhere, Schwartz's bed is there."
Hey, what the hell?
Yeah. But anyway, no. But yeah. So I mean, what vaccines do you get? Any vaccines, Jimmy, on a yearly basis?
No.
See, I get everything. Before this one, I got the damn. Of course, I stepped on some iron nail or something. I had to go get my tetanus again. And then
I've had that before.
Yeah, and then you're supposed to get that every 7 years or 10 years. Yeah. And then, every year.
And then you got the pneumonia shot, you got the shingle shot, you got so many. And people wonder why Alzheimer's is getting so bad. I think there's some connection to vaccines and Alzheimer's. I do.
The reason things are getting Alzheimer's and elderly diseases are getting worse, we don't have anything wiping out our society. We don't have any national drafts anymore.
You're saying because people are getting older we're getting more Alzheimer's. But I think Alzheimer's is hitting people much younger than it used to.
I'm sure it is. I'm sure it's chemicals. But what I'm saying is I don't think it's related to vaccines. I think it's related to us getting older as a society. And as we get, they said they're almost breaking down a cure for age. Would you take a cure for aging where you could live 400 years, Mr. Kings?
I would try to go maybe 150. I'm ready to go home.
Until you get to be 149.
You live to be 400. All your friends, all your family are gone.
No. Everybody else would be living there. We would just have a population problem and a water problem.
If I could stay in the same health, absolutely. The first I would
hope you would improve.
Yeah, I would at least give it to my kids first.
I would hope I would improve.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I'd give it to my kids first and make sure they live forever because that's really most
No, I didn't say forever.
400 years, yeah.
Would you want to live forever?
No. Well, you know what? I would love to stay up 24 hours a day, and maybe everyone wouldn't be so bad, but if I never had to sleep,
you don't like sleeping?
No, I'd rather be awake 24 hours a day. Sleeping it gets in the way.
Yeah,
you got lots of things
everybody, well, I don't know if you know this, Yemi. He knows this. I don't sleep a lot. I need about 5 to 6 hours. So I'll be up at 3 a.m. wide awake. And I'll text him or I'll call him or he'll text me and call me. But the problem is people say go with your natural rhythms, and I tried that. I can't be up more than 16 hours, but I only need about 5. Like this morning I was up at 4, wide awake. If you go with your natural rhythms, I knew we had to do this show at 6. You'll be asleep at 9, then you'll be asleep at 8, then you'll be, and I've literally gone to work at 6 p.m. before. Woke up and gone to work at 6 p.m. and you're like, I'm becoming a zombie. So for societal reasons, for social issues, I try to sleep 8 hours so I can be up when everybody else is up and sleep when everybody else is
But all the Netflix movies you want to see, all the things you want to do at work, I mean,
you haven't seen
all the books
have you been through Netflix? There's a lot of crap on Netflix I could skip.
And you watch it.
No, I've gotten into some HBO Max. Okay, Yemi, how many hours a night?
Between 6 and 8 on a good day.
Okay. You take
usually
anything?
About 6. Nope.
See, I take melatonin to help me sleep. Do you take anything?
Yeah, I do.
Do you take melatonin?
No,
or
I
medication?
I do. Sometimes I take melatonin, but I take trazodone.
Okay, you take a prescription.
Mm-hmm.
And
now, if I really need to sleep, I'll just take a Benadryl.
Okay, that's old school, but it works.
Yeah, that doesn't work on me anymore. I guess I'm a drug addict.
Well, you might need to relax a little bit.
Yeah, I do.
But anyway, running them big firms.
I'm gonna get the massage people that Watts got.
Wow! Speaking of massages,
that put me to sleep.
This is live. This
I understand.
Okay.
Well, I was making a joke.
Transition. Topic.
That's why
number
I
one.
made the transition.
Topic number 1.
That's
good job.
Okay.
Transition guy. Deshaun Watson. Let's get into the top 5 topics. We might get to 2. Deshaun Watson, the quarterback of the Houston Texans, wanted a trade from the Texans because he thought they were, without saying it, they were too white. They were run by a preacher named Easterby that came up from New England. He worked himself up as a priest or preacher. Then he's a consultant. Then he's a VP. They kept on hiring a lot of New England guys from the Patriots. They treated a lot of players poorly. Andre Johnson traded DeAndre Hopkins, their wide receivers. Made some stupid trades. One of the stupid trades they're criticized is they traded for Ole Miss's offensive tackle, Tunsil, and they overpaid him, supposedly.
Well, how old is he now?
He's 25, 26. He got a big contract, but he was not supposed to get it. They thought they overpaid him. They fired Bill O'Brien. They were hiring a new GM. The top two candidates were Louis Riddick, an African-American on ESPN who worked for the Eagles. He comes across very well. He was on Monday Night Football. And the second candidate was a gentleman, I do believe, Arabian descent from the Steelers. And I'm a Steelers fan, Omar, a gentleman named Omar. They did not hire either one of those guys after a hiring firm recommended them. They hired a white guy from the Patriots. Deshaun Watson was like, I'm out. I've seen this story. And going back a little bit further, when Colin Kaepernick first came out, the Texans owner at that time, McNair, the father, who's no longer with us, he made the famous quote, "You can't make the inmates run the prison." And all the black players on the Texans were like, oh, hell no. So there's been some issues there racially. There's been some issues about just wasting Deshaun Watson's potential. He just signed a huge contract. So
Where'd he go?
No, he was at the Texans.
Okay.
But he signed for year one. He comes back and says, I'm not playing for y'all, trade me. They have taken the position they're not going to trade him. Establishing that back history, this week he was sued 12 times by 12 massage therapists alleging sexual harassment, sexual assault. Some of the allegations are that he forced people to give him oral sex during these massages. No criminal reports have been filed to our knowledge, and no police reports. Yemi, as a prosecutor and one of the more celebrated Hinds County public defenders in your past, when you hear those allegations, what first comes to mind?
Where are the criminal charges? That's what stands out to me. Look, if a SOB ever tried to rape me or anything like that, number one, you're going to jail. I'm filing charges, then I can sue you while you're in jail. So I just wonder, where are the charges?
It makes it easier for the state to do the heavy lifting.
Yeah.
And get a guilty plea and do the civil case. Now, you
Absolutely.
brought up that one of them alleged.
Yeah, I think one alleged that he forced her to give him oral sex during the massage.
3 times.
Yeah, I think
on
once
3 different occasions.
Several times.
Yeah, so I find that a little weird because how can she sue and say he forced me? First of all, I don't know how you force somebody to do that, but second off,
Well, I
don't know how you
force somebody to do it.
Well,
man.
we can't show you, Richie.
I don't know how you do
This
that.
is a family-rated show.
But the same token, she did it.
There's
She was
some people
forced-
in Parchment that will show you.
She was forced
Yeah.
3 times, and yes, she kept going back and going back, but she didn't want to do it, but she kept going back. Something ain't right there.
Okay,
that just doesn't make any sense.
Yemi, or from that, you sound like you read more allegations than I have. Were these massages at the facility? Were they at his house? Were they at a?
Well, they said some were at facilities and some were the result of Facebook or Instagram DMs.
Was this the Asian massage parlor?
I don't know about that.
Okay. And what we're talking about is the Patriots owner.
Right.
Bob Kraft in his 70s went to one of the cheapest Asian parlors in Miami. A billionaire went to one of the cheapest massage.
Heck, he can go to China if he wants a massage.
That point, you just have them come to the room. Yeah. But so, okay, Richie, you being one of the premier plaintiffs' attorneys in the state, these women come to you. Do you file suit?
The reality is he's going to settle these cases.
So that's a yes?
Yeah, he's going to settle the case.
Whoa, you just said
the women are going to get paid. And now whether they
you just
can prove the charges in a courtroom is something different. But if I were him, I would just, you don't want the publicity.
Well, it's too late now. He can't settle them now.
Yeah, he can. Yeah, he can.
Would you settle them, Mr. Kings?
Talking about right now, immediately?
Now that they're out.
No, because it's going to be another 12.
Yeah.
Another 12.
Yep.
So I guess you got to fight a little bit at least.
Yeah, you got to do some discovery. Now, here's the problem. Do you admit? Because what
you settle without admitting anything.
No, but what I'm saying is, part of the problem is if he settles some of these cases, he could open himself up to real criminal issues.
No, he's not. He's not admitting he did it.
I understand.
And the criminal standard is much higher.
But you can't,
I don't believe there's any
cannot,
criminal charges that can be proven.
As you as an ex-prosecutor, I'm an ex-prosecutor, and Yemi is a current prosecutor, you can't put in a stipulation of settlement there won't be criminal charges.
But the standard is so much higher than it is. You can put in there that they won't talk about the case or the
confidentiality.
Yeah. And the standard is so much higher for criminal. There's no way this is a criminal case. Do you see a criminal case in this?
Well,
at this late stage?
There's no charges. I mean,
Even if they chose to do that, the reason they're not doing that, that's the threat to settle the case. That's why there's no criminal charges. They're using that as the threat.
What if he came out and said these were prostitutes, I was paying them to be prostitutes, and they knew what to do?
Well, if you went to a Chinese massage parlor,
I mean,
then it's kind of known that you're paying for sex. Right?
Is that from personal knowledge, or
it's from what you told me?
Okay. I'm just asking. I don't know about any massages. You said it was a definite statement. I had to cross-examine you there. But no, I mean, okay, if I was in this situation, one, the man signed a $150 million, $146 million contract. I'm not doing anything where it's not videotaped, where it's athletically based. Like this, right? This,
No. He wanted the sex, obviously.
Okay.
Why would you videotape that?
But what I'm saying is, if it was, and that's what I'm
Now,
eliminating.
if you're doing it, it's a legitimate. Yeah, I mean, there's nothing wrong with videotaping.
No, but what I'm saying, if it's a true massage,
Yeah.
I want everything about me that if I'm worth $150 million, that could have an allegation. One, I'm using the team's massage therapist. If it's athletically based, or I'm going to a spa, I'm going somewhere, like here in Jackson, I would go to the spa that your daughter manages, Aqua Day Spa. Everybody knows there's nothing going on there. It's the premier spa in the metro area and possibly the state. I'm not going to, Lynn Howell's Asian Paradise.
But the reality is, if you got a massage, and even if you are inappropriate, nothing's going to happen. It's when 12 people come in and say, hey, he did the same thing to me, then it becomes a case. One person's not a case.
Well,
12 people is.
If it's another issue, you can bet some people from Clemson, where he graduated, or he led them to a national championship. I don't know if he graduated or not. They're going to be coming up from college. If he has a history of this,
there'll be a statute of limitations problem on that.
Not for rape.
Well, rape, that's a criminal charge. It would be civilly.
Yeah.
There's a statute of limitations civilly for all of that.
Yeah, he's been in the league. When did he get in the league? He came in with
Mahomes. Few years.
Yeah, so there'll probably be a statute. But the confidentiality agreements have been throwing out because, the people ask him all the time. They ask Bloomberg, could you remove these confidentiality agreements? And there's a big push to just eliminate those. Do you think they're overused?
Well, I mean, if you're going to pay a settlement and there's a potential for a criminal charge, you want to have that with the penalty if they say anything. That's exactly what Trump did, and there was a penalty if she said it, but she was offered
because
more money.
Because it's negotiated.
Yeah, she was offered more money to tell the story than not pay the penalty.
Now, just so we're clear here, you can't pay someone not to tell the truth for criminal agencies or criminal prosecution.
But you can punish them financially if they say anything.
I disagree with that on the subpoena. And once they get an issue of subpoena, you cannot block someone from talking to a federal government.
I don't think you're right.
Yemi, you want to break the tiebreaker?
I'll just be guessing on that one.
Feel free to guess, prosecutor.
I would say that
that's what breaking the tiebreaker is.
As far as the criminal prosecution goes, I think you can go ahead and say something.
You have to. You can't block. Now, like I said, you can say confidentiality, but if someone hits you with a subpoena and you have to alert them, because I just had this in a case.
Well, yeah,
but you have to comply. You can't say I've settled the case. I can't talk whether, Richie likes to grab.
Let's plead the fifth.
That
way you won't leave. That way you won't lose your money.
That's not how that works. That's not for civil. You're just making things up now.
If it's a criminal case, you plead the fifth.
You're not facing criminal charges as a witness.
Well, you know what? You don't know what the charges will be. In fact, wouldn't you advise most criminals that are going to test or potentially could be criminals?
You'd be the victim in that scenario.
No, that's not necessarily true. Because what if he alleges she did something?
Well, once again, now if there's an allegation that you're a prostitute, and I mean not the prostitutes that you and I are, on an everyday basis, because I'm a high-paid mercenary. You can get that mercenary 601-977-5253 at Hazard Law. But with that
And you get a massage, too.
You're about to be massaged on that. Keep on taking a little funny. But no, but with that said, no, sincerely, confidentiality settlements. One, we have video cameras with us everywhere.
That's
right?
True. Yeah.
Okay, and this is what, and I'm going to go behind the scenes now. This is what angers me about him, Yimmy. This guy's oblivious to how we'll be walking around, and we, like the other day, we went to the movies together, and we saw News of the World, the new Tom Hanks movie. Mm-hmm. It's a Western. It's a B. Would you give it a B?
A B plus. I thought it was good.
Yeah,
I actually cried a little bit in it. I thought it was really good.
It's about Tom
really
Hanks
touching.
finding an orphan,
okay. Yeah, it's really
and trying
touching.
to get the orphan back
I thought
home.
It was good.
It was sweet, and it was Tom Hanks is going to bring it.
It's
every
hard to
time.
see a bad Tom Hanks movie.
You can. It's like Morgan Freeman. If Morgan's in it, I almost watch it.
It's hard. It's hard to get.
Morgan's the king of the TNT matinee. You know, if Morgan Freeman's on the matinee, Shawshank, I'm watching. But with that established, we'll be walking and we'll be talking about something, and everyone does this. Is that him? And we went to Steak and Shake because I told the idiot I'm on a diet. And he goes, hey, let's go to Steak and Shake. And they have great burgers and fries and shakes, but they have nothing dietary, and I came off my diet. But with all that established, you've become oblivious. Well, you're obnoxious too, but you're oblivious to people recognizing you. Is that over time, or you just don't give a damn?
If people recognize me, that means my advertisements work. That's great.
Okay, but I mean, at some point, I would want to disappear. Okay, Yimmy, you know what I'm talking about. As a prosecutor, when you get out of court, you want to disappear, right?
Yeah.
Because when we get notice, and you know this as an ex-prosecutor, it's not good notice.
You don't want to go to a restaurant where you just put somebody in jail.
And
he's serving your food.
You're laughing.
No,
as
that's
a
the
county
truth.
prosecutor, the maximum they usually can get is 6 months. And when they come out, they usually maybe have a drug problem or something. So I've had waiters, servers, and cooks come out when I quit in 16, so I can eat somewhere. But they would point at you. They would, and then I got to leave. Have you had that happen, Mr. Kings?
Yeah, well, I was a public defender as well.
Okay.
So I was out one time, and this guy was like, that's him right there. So I'm like, okay, let me go ahead and leave. He's like, well, you represented me. So it was all good.
I'll tell you a funny story, a jury trial that I did where I left two people on the jury that I was a city prosecutor in Jackson and Ridgeland that they had paid a fine. And I personally prosecuted them. I left them purposely on there because they knew I was fair to them. And so when I tell the jury what I wanted, they knew I was telling the truth and I was fair to them. And you know what? They gave me a great verdict.
Did you have the mustache? He had a mustache before he started doing advertising.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Horrible.
I don't think it
looked
had the
horrible.
mustache.
Looked like a pedophile. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, you look great now, but back then you looked like a damn.
Well, so sometimes you prosecute people, and it's fine because they did wrong. They understand they did wrong. They wanted a fair.
90% of the people I prosecuted never understood they did wrong. Percentage of people who understood they did wrong.
Well, I don't know if they understood it, but they darn sure didn't act like they did anything wrong. And a lot of times the family definitely didn't think they did anything wrong.
Why are you picking on my baby? I heard that.
Yep.
The most dangerous incidents I had came from either justice court or youth court. It was never anything.
I meant
big.
youth court would be very dangerous. I did actually one lunacy hearing one time.
Oh, those are horrible.
Oh my God, there was a guy before us that was in handcuffs. Okay. And they had to unhandcuff him for the hearing. And he started to struggle with the officers were around him, holding him. He said, you can't touch me. You can't hurt me. You can't hurt me. And they said, yes, we can. No, I have herpes. And they went, whoa! And they backed off. And obviously that works. You don't get beat up if you have herpes.
So you've never been beat up?
No, never have. No, never have.
Anyway.
Never have. I've been in many a fight.
I'm talking about because of the herpes. You didn't catch that at all.
No,
That's
I wasn't my client.
Okay, I'm just
it wasn't
saying.
my client.
No, that was a joke.
My client was something
I was
and needed to
inferring
go
that
and
you
get
had
therapy.
something you can't give away.
Yeah.
But anyway, Yemi, worst case you've handled that you can talk about.
Let's see.
Prosecutor, as public defender, as a private attorney. Which one's the worst?
Tell the funniest one,
Okay, the funniest
and
one.
I'll tell you mine, and you tell me yours.
I don't. Funny?
Yeah. Prosecutors. You ever
don't
been to
have
city?
funny.
Go to city court and watch the trials. Some of them are the funniest
Okay,
trials
now.
you've ever
So
seen.
go ahead.
I'll tell you about a funny one. I wasn't prosecuting this case. I was in court in a city
It wasn't
court.
me. I was just there.
And the prosecutor, the case was, I guess, an obscenity type charge, and she was asking the guy, "So, were you being obscene in the city limits?" "No, I wasn't." "Well, why was your booty in the air? Why was your naked booty in the air moving around in the car on top of a woman?" That was the funniest thing.
Just being there, being free. Go ahead, Schwartz.
There's so many. I'll tell this one. There was an older lady who charged her husband with assault, and she was on the stand, and I was questioning her, and she said, "Yeah, you know what? We were just talking, and then he hit me, and that grease wasn't hot enough." I said, "Whoa, what grease wasn't hot enough?" "Well, we had been fighting, and he went in to take a bath, and I boiled some grease, and I poured it on him, and it wasn't hot enough, so I went and boiled some more, and I poured it on him. Then he hit me." That was the case. That was the assault charge.
I'm waiting for the funny part.
Yeah, that was funny. That
what the
was
hell's
terrible.
funny about that? The pouring on the grease on domestic
The
violence.
grease wasn't hot enough. You didn't hear that part?
I heard that part, and I'm just sitting there while he was there waiting. Was he passed out? Because I had a case, or I was involved in a case where a man either was abusive. I was in the courthouse when this happened. The man was abusive, or the man committed several affairs, and the woman boiled the grease and waited till he took a shower and poured it on him, and he could not walk again. And
Wow.
And I think the woman got 20 years. And I was sitting there thinking,
You
I
know about
couldn't
the
imagine.
Scrooge down story, right?
God, we're going to go.
You have you heard that one?
I haven't.
It's-
I've heard
I
every
didn't
one of your
prosecute
jokes.
that case.
I love to hear it.
No, you don't, but go ahead.
I did not prosecute that case. A friend of mine did, and swears, the defense attorney swears it's absolutely true. So this lady accused this man of rape, and she's on the stand. Defense lawyer goes, "Ma'am, let me ask you a question. How tall are you? You about 6 foot?" She said, "Yeah, I'm about 6 foot." He said, "And my client, the one who raped you, he's about 5'5", right?" "Yeah, that's probably right." And he says, "Well, how?" And you're accusing him of throwing you against a brick wall, pulling down your panties, and raping you. "That's right." "How is it physically possible for a man who's 5'5", you being 6 feet, and actually penetrating you?" And she said, "Well, I kind of scrooched down a little bit." And the judge went, "Dismiss." Dismiss.
That popped our producer. That's the only funny one. But this was not my case again, to stipulate this. I was in a county I will not name, and I know the judge pretty well over there, and we were sitting there. And of course, when you have an order to sign, there's nothing worse than having to sit through a case.
Oh, yeah.
So, I was trying to get something done, and we got something worked out, but he started another case. So I'm sitting there with announcing a divorce settlement.
Oh, I know this one. This is funny.
And I'm going to clean it up for the air as much as I can. So they said, Barbara Johnson came in, filed a divorce from her husband because of homosexual acts. And at this time, the gentleman who was at the table punches his attorney and goes, "Da, da, 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 da." And he's like, "Shut up, we're settled." And he goes, "The parties have reached settlement, and the property division is as follows." And he's like, "You said that." And he's pointing and hitting the attorney. And the judge looks up and says, "Mr. Johnson, do you want to say something?" And he's talking to his attorney, and the attorney said, "Go ahead." And he said, "Your Honor, for the record, Billy Joe was blowing me. I was not committing a homosexual act. Billy Joe was." And the judge looked at me, and he turned down, and you could tell he was trying not to laugh. He was just right, and he's turning red, and everybody in the courtroom, and he said, "So noted, Mr. Johnson, Dudley Joe was," and he moved on. And after he left, I looked at him and I said, "I have never had anything like that." Now, when I used to go to certain counties, now let me ask you this. I don't know how it was. When you were prosecuting, what year was that, sir, back in the day?
Gosh, Dale Danks was mayor in Jackson.
So the 20s.
And then the preceding mayor.
1980s, 1990s.
Who was the preceding mayor?
I was not here then. You were here, but you were 4.
Right.
And then in Ridgeland, I was prosecutor for 3 years.
When I started off doing court-appointed work like Mr. King's, and certain judges, if you win, they don't want you in the courtroom, but certain judges like the show. So I'd get these calls from certain circuit judges, and they're like, "Hazz, we got one for you." And you get to know them. And like, "No, I'm not doing another one up there because you already give me the horrible ones." And you're doing it for the paycheck, and because they pay you, I think, $60 an hour or something. And it's good advertisement when you're just a solo attorney. So they said, "Come on in." This guy, and he said, "Go ahead and talk to the complainant." And it was a nice old man. He said, "Look, man, I just want to go back to normal. I get up every morning at 6 a.m. and we're sitting there, and he goes, everything was fine. This new guy moves in with these damn Rottweilers, and every morning he has sex with one of them in front of my picture window, and I just want it to stop." And I said, "Sir, did you say the man had sex with the dog?" Every morning at 6 a.m. And I turned to the judge and I said, "I'm not taking this appointment." He said, "Oh, you are, Hazard. You're an officer of the court. You're taking it." And I'm like, "You can't stick me with this case. He's not sane." "Oh, you're taking it. We got trial Monday." This was a Friday afternoon. And the DA was in there and the judges, and we were talking about this. And the guy had fired 2 of his attorneys or something. And I said, "He's not mentally competent." He was wanting to argue that he had the right to have sex with his animals, and it was consensual, which he didn't want to recognize. He wanted to challenge bestiality.
We've had several bestiality cases,
which is shocking.
It is a lot of bestiality.
So I'm
cases.
starting off my.
And that's just the ones they catch.
Yes, I'm starting, and I do everything I can to try to plead this guy out. Everything I can to try to plead this guy out. Say he's not sane. He wants to have the court recognize a man and dog love. You cannot try this case. Nobody wanted. He didn't want to plea. The judge didn't want to plea. The prosecutor didn't want to plea. So I started off my voir dire and said, "Who here hates a dog lover?" And everybody, the judge started cracking up. He said, "We can't try this case now that I hear that." We played it out. He had to go to therapy. Hopefully he's doing well.
He
had to sell the dog.
There's an, I don't know this to be true, but before I became prosecutor in Jackson, they told me that there was a guy who was charged with having bestiality, and they put him up for this plea, and he said, "You've been charged with having sex with a goat, a cow, chickens," and he went, "Chickens?" No, I can't tell you if that's true or not. I was told that was true.
There was a guy in the Delta got prosecuted for having sex with chickens. They were
chickens.
They were finding them. They were dead every morning, and the farmer found them. And there was a gentleman farmhand that killed 17 of them before they figured out what happened.
Lord have mercy.
There's some.
I hope he got the pretty chickens.
Wow. Transitioning something that won't get us to this board, the pretty chickens. But anyway, is it time for us to recognize, okay, if Deshaun Watson, if he just admits to prostitution, is it time in 2021 to recognize that if 2 consulting adults want to engage in sex for profit, what's the word I'm looking for?
Well, if he admits to prostitution, he's committed a crime.
Oh, I understand that, but is it time to legalize prostitution in 2021?
I would tell you that the world would be better if you had a place where prostitutes, versus going on the street and picking up and getting diseases, finding a place that it's legal to have it. I'm not saying it's morally right, but the reality is the world would be better because you won't have be the temptation to go on the street and get hurt and all these pimps and everything. I think it's better to have an organized place, but I'm not morally saying it's morally right.
Well, in the world today, like, okay, J-Lo and A-Rod almost broke up. And supposedly...
Who were they?
Alex Rodriguez and Jennifer Lopez.
Okay. Baseball player and movie
singer.
Star. Okay.
Movie star. Yeah,
okay.
There. They just broke up, and supposedly it was over him sexting with a reality star. Mr. Kings, did you see this?
I didn't.
And supposedly the reality star and A-Rod had never been in the same room. Now, when you have sexting, you have people now going to Pornhub or porn sites to start their acting careers. Kim Kardashian started her empire with a X-rated tape. Okay? Mm-hmm. When you're having OnlyFans accounts, which is basically homemade girls taking Playboy pictures, sometimes they're couples, and they're making $150,000 a year. When we're having all that, is it time that we recognize prostitution? I don't know where I am on that. I mean, Vegas does it. Not Vegas. Is it Vegas?
No, it's Pahrump. It's illegal in Vegas.
Okay.
But in the city of Pahrump, it is legal, which is about an hour away from Vegas. And that chicken ranch.
Sounded like you knew it.
The reason I know so much about it, one of the ranches filed bankruptcy for back taxes.
Yeah.
And the government took it over and ran it.
Oh, okay.
Our government ran a prostitution house. How about that?
So are you saying, King, is it time we recognize it or not?
Okay, I'll put it like this. If you could show me some statistics or some numbers that would say if we legalize prostitution amongst consenting adults, that these child molestation type cases would drop.
Well,
I would totally support it.
But that's those two are different worlds.
That's sick people.
Yeah, pedophiles aren't going to ladies or grown folks, period. And, that's just, and for those who are, look, I always get this question. Have you actually seen, at some point when I don't know if you were with us or not, the FBI would come in periodically and show us child porn. And when you see it once, people are leaving the room sick. Mm-hmm. It is one of those things where those people are not anywhere near. I mean, these are children. They're not anything 19 or 20 years old or So no, I don't think you'd ever find that correlation. So I mean, what it is, it would lower possible, like with the Asian. The shooting of the Asian women, he went to Asian massage parlors.
It also may eliminate them taking people and human trafficking if you had places
to go
that actually had legalized and their health will be taken care of. They'll be tested. So there's a lot of possibilities. They'll be paying taxes.
Yes.
So there's a lot of
they'd be
positives
regulated.
Mm-hmm.
They would have.
There's some positives too.
Yes. I mean, other countries recognize it.
Yeah.
I don't know if we're there or not, but it's one of those situations where when you have kids today doing so much on Instagram or so much on Cash App and all this Venmo stuff, I'm just shocked at how many people are so open about dating, and they have their Cash App, there's a dating site with their Cash App or their Venmo site, and you're like, wow.
I have no idea what you just said.
Cash App and Venmo are apps where you can wire money. Like my nephews or...
Why would you wire money to a prostitute unless they're there giving you a service?
And what I'm saying is women now on certain dating sites like Match.com or some of the other ones that I've gone to every now and then, they've gotten so bold. They'll say, hey, my name is Cindy. I like this, this, and this. Oh, by the way, my Cash App is this. Now,
why would you send her cash?
I can think of a couple of reasons why.
Why?
I do believe she's looking for a transaction if she is advertising.
But when she has the cash, she's not doing the transaction.
Well, I do believe
that makes no sense at all.
Once again, it sounds like you're speaking from experience.
No, it just doesn't make logical sense.
I'm just saying, I don't entertain those websites. I am always paranoid. I look, I'm the most paranoid person in the world, but in today's age, with Tinder and things like that, people just show up, and I'm like, you don't know me, man.
Yeah.
Or, hey, just come on over.
Okay, go ahead.
Wow.
Freudian slip.
Wow. Yeah, well, I was looking at you. How could I not fantasize about this right here? And you in your cowboy uniform. But what I'm saying is, you sit there and you look at these people. They have isolated. This is sex and this is relation. When you go to a bar now, they are looking for people on Tinder. And they're not trying to hit on each other. I mean, Mr. Kings, you're younger than I am. Is that your impression, or am I making all this up?
I mean, there's some truth in what you're saying.
Yes, everything is more transactional than it is, whether it's money involved or not. Like on Tinder, it's yes or no.
It's different, and the world's gotten so big. In the old days, you had matchmakers because you didn't know anybody.
Correct.
Now. You know everybody.
But like
That's
I said,
interesting.
on Match, you can do all that. On eHarmony, you do questions or everything. Everything more is analytical. Let's say that.
And now, a guy can see a young lady that he's attracted to, won't say a word to her, and then go, let me find her on Facebook and send a message.
That's true, too. You can research her.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't have anything bad to say about Facebook. That's how I met my fiance, on Facebook.
I thought it was Match.
No, Match. I'm sorry, Match. You're right.
You might want to get this straight, considering the
it's Matt. Yeah,
and she's coming in town this weekend.
Yes, she is.
You might want to get. But your fiance is way above you.
Oh, no doubt.
Way above.
No doubt.
A lovely woman.
She is.
Wonderful woman. Spent time in Europe.
Yeah, well, for years.
Yeah, so
all
it gives
over
me
Europe.
hope that if you go to Europe, you'll find someone desperate enough to marry anybody. So it gives me hope. But anyway, transitioning. Did y'all notice what the mayor said about water? The water finally got back on in Jackson, Mississippi.
Hallelujah!
I didn't have water for 17 days.
Ain't that ridiculous? Yeah. That is so. Now, who do you blame for that?
Man, I had to blame the city for it. I mean,
okay. You have.
I have to.
And here's why.
How's that legal analysis?
Here's why. If I was mayor of this city,
you'd have.
I would have a plan to fix this many pipes this year, this many pipes the next year.
Yeah.
Guess how many got fixed?
How many?
Zilch. Until they busted, he put Band-Aids. So a plan is the only way to fix this problem.
Yeah.
And there was money set aside to enclose the water system. Guess what happened? Never got done. So I blame this administration. I don't blame the mayor directly. I blame the whole administration.
Let me go ahead and set him on fire. Did you see who the city there's Gold Coast dumping or Gold Coast. There's a firm in Brandon that's been indicted or being indicted. And
really?
For dumping solid waste in the city of Jackson sewers. And it's
a law firm?
No. Gold Coast is a facility.
Okay.
A waste. What's the word?
Okay, gotcha.
Resource or waste.
Yeah.
A waste plant.
Okay.
And they had a huge pond out there. They were supposedly allegedly illegally dumping. City of Brandon suing them. And what they were allegedly doing is going into Jackson. This is from the indictments. And they weren't representing that it was industrial waste, and they were representing it was restaurant waste. And some people were pouring it down Jackson sewers. Yeah. And the city of Brandon and the EPA and the federal government's indicted all this, and this is all public record. And everybody's innocent until proven guilty. We got to say that as lawyers. And the city of Jackson just sued them this week, and they hired the same firms they did to hire Siemens. And no one knows the contract because
they hired the same law firm
from Alabama.
Holy cow! And by the way, they're a very good firm.
Okay,
I've actually done a case with them. They're
I don't
a very
know
good
them,
firm.
but
I do.
When you sue someone for $250 million, I don't know the damage model in this case. You don't pay a third on that business model. When we did AG work for the state, you don't get a third. Yeah. You do a combination, hourly plus percentage,
or based on the amount of money you recover.
Yeah, correct. You do something or called Lodestar. Yes, we have to go into the court and prove your fee. So you get a fair compensation for the lawyers, but there's no windfall. For the amount of work they did against in Chancery Court or Circuit Court, they didn't justify $30 million.
No,
and trial lawyers
settled it for nothing. Settled it for a tenth of what it should settle for.
Did they even take depositions?
No depositions, nothing, no discovery.
No, they did some written discovery. They did some written discovery.
Oh, did they?
They did some written discovery.
I understood they did no discovery.
But no, there was a dispute on whether everybody got discovery or not. But that's what I'm saying. There was no. You would think a lawyer as a mayor would have had better sense to at least get it down from a third to maybe 20%. The standard contract contingency fee for government is 15, 20% when you're talking about $100 million cases or stuff like that.
I have nothing to say bad about this firm except one thing. There are plenty of good Mississippi law firms
Jackson
that
Law
could have
Firm.
done it. Yeah. It makes no sense that they go all the way to Alabama to represent Jackson. Makes no sense.
Especially in a case where there's federal indictments
Yeah.
and everything's already out there.
It makes no sense.
It is questionable. And, of course, there's 3 lawyers in Mississippi in the Jackson area. Obviously, I have a little trouble with that. But it is interesting to see how that works.
Oh, there's lawyers who probably local lawyers probably getting a piece of it and directed it to, and they happen to give a lot of money to the mayor, so maybe that's part of it. I don't know. I'm not accusing anything. I'm just saying.
Sound like you did.
It's possible.
Sounded like you did.
It's politics.
Politics.
Politics. That's what it is.
Yes, it is.
Politics.
But I would hope that the next contract is negotiated a little bit better, a little bit more savvy from the legal.
And I have nothing to say about bad about the local lawyers. They're doing their job. The Alabama law firm's good, but there are plenty of good Mississippi law firms too.
A couple of them.
Yeah,
A couple of them might be sitting here today.
Yeah.
But anyway, moving on. The mayor said that part of the reasons, he told the New York Times published a story this week on the Jackson water crisis and said that part of the problem is the state doesn't pay for their water bills. And I want to quote this correctly. The city provides water for the state of Mississippi, but we don't get paid for the water we provide to them. If we simply charge the state like any other customer, we'd be in a lot better position. This is cited off of Jackson Jambalaya. I want to give credit to Kingfish. But then Kingfish has submitted public information request. And he Department of Finance Administration, they paid about $200,000 since June 2020. Siler's building has paid $30,000. My internet
For water bills.
For water bills since June 2020. And what the mayor got confused is the state doesn't pay property taxes; they pay water bills.
That's right.
And when he says things like that, or when he calls the sitting governor a Klansman for not approving the bill a couple of years ago for extinguishing all water debt,
He called him a Klansman?
yeah, had
Wow.
a press conference called.
I did not
Jackson
know that.
Jambalaya brought that up again.
Well, I wonder why he didn't have a good relationship with the governor.
Shocking.
Yeah,
The governor.
I understand.
But-
I didn't know that.
Yes, at some point you've just got to take some blame. I don't know it's political season, but whether we're talking about Trump, Biden, the mayor, the senators, and let me give Cindy Hyde-Smith some love here. And I'm not a big Cindy Hyde-Smith. She introduced a bill to fix infrastructures in cities, and City of Jackson would qualify under that bill. So at least somebody in D.C. is listening. So it'll be interesting to see where it goes. Where do you see it going, Mr. Kings? Because this isn't the first time. The rental house, you had some issues with one of your rental houses. Is that not correct?
I mean, there's always issues with that,
Well, with the water bill, with the water bill specifically.
Yeah, extremely high water bill. It just goes on and on and on. Try to get it taken care of. Submit your bills. Then we got the issue of these meters that are just not working.
Well, full disclosure, I'm suing on behalf of some citizens about the water meters, and I've got to actually respond. They've moved to dismiss because we haven't exhausted administrative remedies, and actually had a nightmare story told to me by some citizen. Sewage is just backing up in our house, just raw sewage. There's got to be a plan, but go ahead, sir. I want to get that disclosure out.
Yeah, I mean, what I'm saying is nothing new. I'm sure a lot of people are experiencing this. I see the stores where folks get these bills, $10,000 water bills and all this kind of nonsense. I mean, it's happening, but I don't know where the end is. I don't see the end in sight.
The only way they're going to have a walking reader to read those meters. And if the meters are broken, then the city either got to fix them or charge a flat rate.
As far as I can tell, Atmos Energy, they still walk and look at the meters. I see them look at my meter every month.
They do.
It still works,
Yeah.
It's not broke, don't fix it.
So will we be talking about, do you think the water issue will be resolved by the election?
No.
Resolved? In what
No
way?
way.
At least we have functional water. Okay, are you drinking Jackson water as we sit here? This is the first time.
Let me tell you, I live dangerously, and I do sometimes drink Jackson water, but I always think maybe this is not a good idea.
Are you drinking Jackson water before this?
No. I brush my teeth with Jackson water, but
Yeah, I shower. I'll brush my teeth. I use bottled water.
Yeah, there's no telling. I mean, this. I'm not saying it's Flint, Michigan, but it's
close.
It's pretty scary.
It's
pretty
close.
scary.
Now we talked about the shooting, the Asian American shooting, the white gentleman. They were talking about people making excuses. I don't know if you saw the clip. Did you see the clip about the officer said he had a bad day, and they're demanding? No, you're talking about someone who killed people having a bad day. And I think it was
he had a bad day because he killed people.
They're saying, they're saying because it was a white officer talking about a white guy shooting, that it was showing sympathy to the shooter, not to the victims. I thought it was more of just a flippant remark because as prosecutors, I used to get hammered on some radio shows we do where I'd have to say these gentlemen. You have to say that in court. You can't say this piece of crap. So it's hard to untrain yourself on that. Where you say, the defendant, the gentleman's charged or whatever, and then you work yourself up. In normal courses, you do have to respect the rights, the constitutional issues. But he got arrested. They're going to it. But have you seen any Asian hate because of COVID? It's hard because we don't have a large Asian population.
That's prominent. I've heard it on air that Asians are being what was the Asian family in Vicksburg that was attacked? I think it was Vicksburg. And there's a lot of Asian.
In 2021, though, I understand in 1940, okay, and they started locking up Japan. In 2021, to blame people here that's been in the States for 20, 50 years for stuff that's going on in China is like me getting blamed for what's going on in Europe.
You think that's why there's home invasions against China? I don't think that's it.
The Asian hate right now is mostly COVID related.
Asian hate and home invasions and robberies and killings, that's not COVID related.
No, but what do you when you say? What are you talking about?
I remember reading or hearing on the news where
you sure
Asians think they're being targeted, and their houses are being broken into, and they're being abused because Asians, as a general rule, are respectful, quiet people, and maybe that's why they feel like they can get more done that way. And won't get caught.
But it's got to be the sudden rise. It's got to be because of COVID.
Now, hate is one thing. Yeah, it could be, but I don't know. I think they see them as more vulnerable, and that's just not true. They're hardworking Americans, and they deserve the respect that everyone else does.
Okay, this is from the Greater Good. It's a Berkeley paper from the University of Berkeley. In many of the most recent attacks on the Asian Americans, the perpetrator made no such declaration. Over the past year, we've seen a huge surge in violent crime for reasons they are still trying to understand. But in the past year, it's got to be about COVID. If it's going up in the past year, what big event that we had that certain people blame on COVID?
I definitely think Trump talking about China definitely created hate. There's no question about that.
So is crime going up against Asians only, or is it going up in multiple communities? Is it going up in the black community?
Well, I would say because of unemployment and because of the pandemic and then people being locked in at home, frustration, domestic violence would be higher, obviously. Divorce rates are higher. Alcoholism would be higher, especially with unemployment. I think one of the reasons George Floyd was in the position he is because he was trying to get a check, and he might have had a counterfeit bill with him or something because he'd been laid off from the club. He was a bouncer.
Yeah, you saw the settlement, didn't you?
$27 million.
$27 million.
Funny you went straight there, but anyway. No, but what I'm saying is everybody's hurting right now. Well, not everybody. I was shocked the state of Mississippi actually had more tax income. We had $3.5 trillion billion in taxes revenue compared to last year, $3.1 billion. I couldn't fully understand that. I thought we'd have a shortage. But, no, people are being laid off. The restaurants have been hurting, things like that. Waitresses have been hurting. More people are trying to do waiter, driving services, food delivery. Yeah. Yes. But no, that's what it is. And people working from home, you don't need as many people at the office, and they've been downsizing. Mm-hmm. So, no, I would imagine crime's gone up through all. But once again, blaming people here for what happened. One, do y'all believe China created this virus? Gimme.
I have no idea who created it, but did it originate in China?
Well, that's undisputed.
Okay, well,
why?
That's that.
But I think it came more from the bats and the meat markets than it being, because if you're going to create a weapon, you'd give yourself the cure.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
if the bats and all of that created it, I mean, the bats didn't just come into existence.
No, they were eating it. They're not using. What's happened is more transportation.
Well, whatever is going on, it's not a new phenomenon. That's my point. So
Yeah.
why would this virus have not been created, decades ago?
Because it might have not
If it's
mutated.
naturally occurring.
It hasn't mutated over like swine flu that happened in 2008.
What's the
just
deer?
mutate. The deer.
What is that?
God, I have to.
I don't know. But
Some
they have a
rotting
deer
deer
virus.
Rotting deer
If you
disease,
eat the meat,
yeah.
you can get the.
Yeah, once it jumps, like, if we ever have a case of mad cow disease jump to humans, we're done. Of course, that's not a virus. What we're talking about is called a prion. It's some sort of proton mutation. But yeah, sometimes they just mutate. Or like SARS, we thought SARS was going to wipe us out, and it mutated to a non-harmful virus strain. It went away naturally. It looks like this one's mutating the other way. But do you believe that China was going to create this virus against us?
No, I don't.
Yeah, and now, like I said, it might have been accidentally released. I'll even go that far. I can see.
I don't think so. If this was a created virus, it would have killed people in the millions, not just make people sick and just percentage-wise die. It's not a weapon. It's not a good weapon.
But it's been documented from that virus center over there. After they were experimenting on animals, they would go sell them at the meat market because the scientists in China make such poor money. That's been documented. So I can see something where they experimented with bats or monkeys or whatever. They went down to a local meat market to sell them.
That's very possible.
And then someone ate the wrong thing.
But I don't think it is a weapon that they intended to.
No, I mean, someone told me if you ever want to see a weapon as a virus, it will have measles in it because measles is the most contagious disease.
It would just wipe out.
That's what I'm saying. It would be a measles.
It wouldn't be
component.
like this. Yeah.
And I don't think they would do it to themselves first. You would drop the cure first in your city.
Yeah.
But what's happened is our world's gotten smaller, and people are flying to Beijing and China more often. And 100 years ago, we still probably wouldn't have it over here.
That's probably true.
Because of transportation advances.
Probably true.
But I mean, once again, going back to what I was saying, attacking some American citizen here for what something is China is just, you're looking for an excuse. And I don't understand it.
Well, I mean, look, Trump created a lot of hate. Let's be honest about it. He created a lot of hate.
I'll disagree with you on that. And I'm not a Trump. I'm not a Trump fan. I think Trump was a symptom. I don't think Trump was, or he was the effect.
Well,
the hatred was there.
He was publicly stirring up hate.
Correct. But what I'm saying, the hatred already
least.
existed, and those people wanted someone like that. But I don't think he caused it. One, I don't think he's competent enough to cause it. But two, I think those people want a voice.
Except that he creates targets. He created the Chinese as a target. He created the Mexicans as a target. So he creates the targets for the haters to hate.
Well, I mean, it's nice to turn on now, CNN's ratings have gone down tremendously, but it's nice to watch. Now, Biden, did y'all see him fall down the stairs today? He fell down the stairs getting on Air Force One. But it's nice to...
Who did?
Biden.
Oh, Biden?
He tried to recover, and then it got worse. It's nice to turn on the news and see a professional, competent person, whether you agree or not agree, and not doing some sort of
listen, I couldn't watch Trump anymore. I mean, just every day tweeting on the phone. It was nothing but him and all the stupid things he did.
Well, he's a narcissist.
Yeah, no question.
He has his picture everywhere.
Yeah.
Sound familiar?
Yeah.
But anyway, moving on.
Except I'm not president.
How do people... You wouldn't take the pay cut. How would people, Yemi, get a hold of you, sir? We're running out of time.
All right, at my office, Kings and Associates, which is located at 2703 Martin Luther King Drive in Jackson. I'm an attorney, also a real estate broker. You can reach me at 601-831-6117.
Would you recommend people buying in this market? Is it too hot?
It's very hot. I mean, buy if you can, and even better, sell if you can. It's definitely a seller's market right now.
Yeah. Richie, how do people get a hold of you?
Easy, 601-9 and all 8, Schwartz & Associates, and we'll be glad to help you if you're injured. We do injury cases, and all we do is injury cases. We don't do anything else. So if you're injured, we'll help you.
And I'm Brent Hazard, Hazard Law, 601-977-5253. We're excited about the studio. We'll be bringing you clips of this. We'll be bringing in a phone.
Look forward to that.
We got a lot of things going on, and we're very excited. But thank you for tuning in. We'll see y'all next week.